They smashed down my garden cabin door thinking I was hiding someone, but what they didn't know was, my guest was a federal agent. The HOA tried to detain me illegally, claiming fake authority. But Agent Daniels made them regret it fast. One by one, they backed down. 2 days later, the feds came knocking, but not for me. You don't mess with the law pretending to be the law. It was a peaceful Saturday morning, the kind I cherished most, birdsong dancing across the Duke grass, the smell of fresh rosemary from the garden, and my coffee mug warm between my hands as I stood on the porch of my secluded garden cabin. I'd built this little sanctuary behind my main home just outside the city, a private, quiet retreat where I could write, sketch, and escape the noise of suburban life. Unfortunately, that peace had been under siege since our HOA got a new president, Mrs. Geraldine Calloway, aka HOA Karen. Ever since she took over, she'd been relentless about rules, real, imaginary, or ones she made up on the spot. Whether it was illegal bird feeders or unauthorized garden gnomes, she found a reason to file complaints against everyone. But I wasn't just anyone, I was the one neighbor who pushed back, which made me a target. Asterisk, I hadn't answered any of the notices she'd sent lately. Why would I? My cabin was on my private property, and it was fully legal. But that morning, I noticed something odd: no birds chirping, no squirrels darting through the hedges. That silence was quickly broken by the roar of boots crushing through my flower beds. I turned just as a group of 6 HOA enforcers in uniform, yes, uniforms, up to my cabin. One was holding what looked like a sledgehammer. Asterisk, you are in violation of multiple codes. You are to be detained for questioning per HOA enforcement regulations, barked Geraldine, who had the audacity to show up with them. Asterisk, you can't detain people, I said, incredulous. You're not law enforcement. Asterisk, we have authorization, she snapped, motioning to a forged-looking document. Asterisk, before I could reply, the enforcer with the sledgehammer swung and smashed through my cabin door, splinters flying like shrapnel. I raised my hands instinctively. This is a lawsuit waiting to happen. Asterisk, they pushed in, 3 men grabbing my arms, another rifling through my bookshelf and desk drawers. You're harboring someone here, one of them accused a known code violator. Asterisk, excuse me, I shouted, yanking my arm free. What are you even talking about? Asterisk, she was seen entering this cabin yesterday. Geraldine shrieked. You're hiding her? Asterisk, at that moment, I almost laughed. Because I realized who she meant, my guest, who was staying in the guest loft. But she wasn't some code violator. No, she was Agent Myra Daniels, a federal operations strategist and one of the most unflinching women I'd ever met. Asterisk, before I could warn the HOA squad. The loft door opened at the top of the cabin's spiral stairs. Myra stepped out in black tactical joggers and a simple t-shirt, but her face was stone-cold steel. She slowly descended the stairs, her credentials already out. Asterisk, Federal Agent Daniels, she said, showing her ID directly in Geraldine's face. And congratulations, you just committed unlawful entry, false imprisonment, property damage, and impersonation of law enforcement. That's for federal violations. Asterisk, Geraldine froze. One of the enforcers dropped his fake baton. We're just following HOA protocol. Asterisk, protocol. Myra's voice cut through like a blade. This isn't a protocol. This is a break-in. You crossed a federal line the moment you used force against a citizen without any lawful authority. One of the men stammered. Why didn't know? Ignorance is not a defense in court. She turned to me calmly. Are you injured? Asterisk, no. Just furious, I said, gesturing at my shattered door. They came in like a SWAT team. Asterisk, Myra raised her phone, hit a button, and a light blinked red. Everything's recorded. Facial recognition's tagging them as we speak. I'll have legal on this before sundown. Geraldine sputtered. We were only enforcing the HOA's authority. You have no authority to detain anyone. Myra snapped. And you're about to find out how serious impersonating federal agents can be. Asterisk, their bravado collapsed instantly. One by one, the enforcers began backing out of the cabin. Myra didn't even raise her voice. Her presence alone was lethal. You'll be hearing from my office. And the civil suits, they'll bury you. Asterisk, as the HOA mob retreated like soaked rats, Geraldine tripped over my broken herb pots, caught her shoe on a rake, and fell flat in the flower bed. Myra didn't even blink. She turned to me and said, call your lawyer. This isn't over. But they're finished. The next few days were a storm Geraldine never saw coming. Myra made sure the HOA esbracken wasn't just a civil matter, became a federal issue. She sent the security footage to her contacts at the Department of Justice, and within 48 hours, 2 unmarked black SUVs pulled up to the HOA office. Geraldine, who loved to parade around in a gold-badged vest like she ran the FBI, went pale as agents escorted her out in handcuffs. Her cronies weren't spared, either, each charged with impersonation, unlawful detainment, and in one case, assault. Asterisk, meanwhile, I had my own plan. Myra connected me with a civil rights attorney who specialized in HOA abuse cases. Within a week, we filed a lawsuit for property damage, emotional distress, and invasion of privacy. I didn't just want compensation, I wanted this HOA exposed. Asterisk neighbors who once stayed quiet began speaking up. Turns out, Geraldine had broken into 2 other homes before, citing code violations. One was an elderly couple's greenhouse. The other was a young woman's backyard studio. Both had been too scared to press charges until now. Asterisk news vans started showing up. The story was too outrageous to ignore. HOA breaks into home, detained by federal agent on site. Myra gave a brief statement outside my cabin. There are limits to what HOA authority extends to, and this crossed every one of them. She didn't stay long after that. My job's done, she told me with a wink. Now it's your turn. And I took that seriously. I rallied the neighborhood. We held a community vote. The HOA board was dissolved in under a month. Geraldine, mansion-sized home. She sold it within 3 weeks. No buyers wanted it, with protest signs still planted on the lawn. I bought it at auction just to tear down her fake security fence and turn the space into a community garden. Asterisk with Geraldine gone, peace returned. My cabin got a new, reinforced steel door with a hidden camera. I rebuilt the porch with the help of grateful neighbors who brought me cookies, coffee, and one handmade HOA free zone sign that I proudly nailed to the front beam. Asterisk, as for Myra, she and I still talk. Sometimes she drops by on her way to the field. She always smiles when she sees the little plaque I had made, protected by coffee, cameras, and federal friends. Asterisk, that cabin is more than wood and nails. Now it's proof that even when power-hungry people try to control others, through fear, one strong guest and a little law can knock their empire down faster than a sledgehammer ever could.